Hi, third grade friends. Today we're going to be doing our first new math content lesson. This is Go Math, Grade 3, 12.1, Describe Plane Shapes. Now, I know you don't have your book in front of you because we didn't take home chapters 10 and 11 and 12, but that's okay. You are going to need, though, a piece of paper and a pencil or something to write with. So if you do not have those things, go ahead and pause this video and then go grab them and come back. Okay? All right. We're going to start describing plane shapes. So a plane shape is when a shape is flat. Flat. That's also 2D or two-dimensional. So we know if you go to a 3D movie, you put on the glasses, and stuff looks like you can hold it in your hand. It looks real. Plane shapes are just flat, like when we draw a shape. It is a plane shape because it's flat. That would be a circle, a square, a triangle, a rectangle, flat shapes, 2D. 3D shapes are the cubes and spheres and rectangular prisms. We're not talking about those today. We're only talking about the flat, plane shapes. We have some things that we use to describe plane shapes here in geometry. So at first we have a point, and we know points from number lines. It's just pretty much a dot. Okay, we know on a number line we put a point on the number line, it's a dot. We use those in geometry too. Next we have a line. Now a line is straight in math. It's a straight line. And you'll notice there are arrows on both ends. That's because a line goes on and on and on forever and ever, ever in both directions. So these arrows tell me that this is a line that goes on forever. What we're used to drawing is a line segment. Let me move that up. A line segment is just a piece of a line. A segment means a piece. So this is a line segment. It's like I took part of this line and put it down here. These points are called end points on a line segment, and that tells me that it starts here and it ends here. A line segment does not go on and on and on forever. A line goes on in both directions. That's what arrows mean. A line segment stops and starts where the points are. Now, sometimes we have something that is kind of both of those. Okay? We can have a ray. Now, a ray has one end point, but then one arrow. That means the ray starts here, but then it goes on and on and on forever, only in this direction. I drew a picture here to help you remember. When I think of rays, I think of sun rays. So if this is my sun, this is my starting point, the ray goes on and on and on forever, coming out of the sun. Okay? So for plane shapes, we're going to use these things to describe them. A point, a line segment, and a ray. Okay? There are also different types of shapes. Now, once you get the hang of this next section, this will seem a lot easier. We have closed shapes and open shapes. We'll look at closed shapes first. These are all closed shapes. If you look, I have a square, a circle, a letter B, something that looks kind of like Pac-Man, a triangle, and then this really weird shape that's almost a lightning bolt, but not really. All of these shapes are closed. There are a couple of things that make a shape a closed shape. One thing is that if I draw it, I start and stop in the same spot. They have the same start and end point. So, if I go to draw this square and I start here and come over, down, over, up, my pencil never had to leave the paper and it ended and started in the same spot. That's true for all of these shapes. If I draw the circle, I start and stop in the same spot. If I do the B, start and stop in the same spot. They have the same beginning and end point. Another way to think about this is you might have heard before that some ants, little bugs, ants, don't like to cross a line. There are some ants that if you draw a line on the ground, then they won't cross it. They try to find a way around it. So we're going to imagine with these closed shapes that if I'm a little ant and I want to get inside this shape, can I? Is there any way for me to get in? There's not. It's closed all the way around. I cannot get in. Now we're going to switch to open shapes. These are the opposite of closed shapes. They do not start and stop in the same spot. And an ant could get in. Let's look at open shapes. For open shapes, I have the letter S. If I'm an ant and I want to get inside, it's not hard. There's a way in. Same here. I just come right in. Same here. I can just come right up to it. This one's a little trickier. I have to come around, but I can get in. Or this one here. There's only a little opening, but all of those an ant could get in. And if I draw these shapes, I don't start and stop in the same spot. Okay? I didn't have to pick up my pencil, but I didn't come back to where I started. If I did, it would be closed. Let's take a look at those open and closed next to each other now. Okay? Look at the difference between ones that are open and ones that are closed. Okay? Now I'm going to hold up a couple things to quiz you and see if you remember what we just talked about. So I'm going to give you a minute to write your answer on your paper, and then I will tell you the answer. Okay? This first paper, I have two of the ways that we describe plane shapes, and you're going to see if you can remember what they're called. Okay? See if you can remember what this one is called. Write that first. What this one is called. Write that second. I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Writing the name of what's drawn on the paper. What is this one? What is this one? What are these called? Remember, they're both straight, but this one has arrows on the ends that go on and on forever. This one has end points. Oops, this one has end points. This one has arrows. Let me fix that for you. All right, do you think you know which is which? Let's see. Okay, the one that has arrows on it is a line. The one that has points is a line segment. Remember, this one is like I took a piece of this one out and said, I just want this piece, just this segment. Okay, good. I'm going to pull up another one now that is a little different. This is only one. You're going to write what this is called. Write if you can remember what this is called. I do have an end point, and I also have an arrow on the other side. So one side starts, and then the other one goes on and on and on forever. This one I used a picture of the sun to remind you. Think you have it? This is a ray. Did you get it? Ray. Okay. Now we're going to do a couple more activities here with line segments and opened and closed plane shapes. Okay, first we're going to do line segments. So there are a couple shapes here. You're going to draw these 4 shapes on your paper, and then inside of the shape, I want you to write how many line segments it has, how many pieces, and in this case, each side is a line segment. Okay, we're going to do the first one together. Our first one is a triangle. Draw a triangle on your paper. Oh, wait. Okay, we're going to count the line segments on this triangle. I count 1, 2, 3. 3 sides, 3 line segments. Put a 3 right inside your triangle. Okay, let's do the one under it next. Let's draw this one. It's almost like a block letter or bubble letter U, except it's all straight lines. I'll give you a minute to draw that. If you think you know what to do, you can pause right on this screen and fill it in, and then you can skip ahead a couple seconds and see if you got your answers correct. If not, we'll go over each one. If you have drawn this one now, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one has 8 line segments or 8 sides. Good. Let's try this one now. I have a point at the top, a point at the bottom, and then 2 long sides. Go ahead and draw that. And then count the line segments or sides. If we count those, we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has 6 line segments. Put a 6 inside. Now let's try this bottom shape. It's kind of a wonky shape. See if you can get this. It looks like we're gonna draw a triangle almost. And then we start to come up and then we stop and go straight up and over. Try to draw that over, almost like a duck foot in a cartoon maybe. That's what it reminds me of. We're going to count the line segments here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 line segments. Did you get those right? All you have to do is count the sides. The sides are the line segments here. Now, if one of these shapes had had a curved side, that would not be a line segment. It would not count. Line segments have to be straight. So if there was a circle, it would have 0 line segments. Okay? Or a half circle, a semicircle, would have 1. Now we're going to try open shape or closed shape. You're going to decide. Okay? I have 4 of them. You write on your paper if these are open or closed. If you want to wait a minute, you can always pause here, write them all down, and see. What about this letter E that didn't really get finished? It didn't connect. Is this open or closed? This one is open. It did not start and stop in the same spot. And if I was a little ant, I could just crawl right in and crawl inside. What about this one? Is this one open or closed? If I draw it, do I start and stop in the same spot? Can an ant get in anywhere? This one is closed. It starts and stops in the same spot, and there's no room for an ant Okay, what about this triangle? It's almost a triangle. It didn't really get finished again, though. This triangle is open. Open. It does not start and stop in the same spot. It's close. And there's also room for an ant. Come in. Okay, and lastly, this one, it looks like I made a circle almost and cut it into fourths, and I have a 1/4 piece, it looks like. Almost. Is that one open or closed? It is closed, a closed shape. Okay, next on your paper, I'm going to have you draw a shape, and I want you to draw a shape that is open. So it's probably going to be a crazy shape, not a normal shape. It's not going to start and stop in the same spot. And there's going to be room for a little ant to crawl in. So stop and go ahead and do that. Pause here if you need some time. And now I want you to draw a closed shape, a normal shape that starts and stops in the same spot, and that there is no room for an ant to get inside. Pause here if you need more time. Lastly, I want you to write the first letter of your first name as a capital letter. Write that down. So I would write a capital A for my name. Write your capital letter. Is your capital letter open or closed? Some shapes kind of look like both. Okay, my capital A, has a closed part, but then it has two parts that stick out. So then I have to say, when I make my A, do I start and stop in the same spot with my pencil? I don't. That means it's open. Even though there's a closed part, it would be open. If your name starts with B, B is closed. C, open. D, closed. E, open. F, open. G, open. H, open. I, open. J, open. K, open. L, open. M and N, open. O is closed. P technically is open, even though it kind of has a closed part still. So it does have an open and a closed part. Q, I would still say is closed, even though we had to make the little line, because you could draw it in a way where you wouldn't have to pick up your pencil. But it's one of those that it could really be either. R is another one that technically is open since we don't start and stop in the same spot, but it does have a closed part. S, open. T, open. U, V, W, X, all open. Y, Z, both open. So most of our letters are open. Some of them have a closed part though, like A have the closed part. O is completely closed, right? All right, now you are going to log on to Personal Math Trainer and you're going to try out lesson 12.1 online assignments. And you can always come back to this video if you get confused or need help. All right, bye friends.